I felt like it kind of ran
dollar store, the thing.
Yeah.
Well,
A little bit.
I liked the creature design. I thought it was kind of interesting to have this sort of 8-eye and spider thing.
No, man, this is a gremlin. This is a leftover
There's a
gremlin.
little bit
It does look a little like a gremlin.
Shaved gremlin.
The basic idea of is it parasite or symbiote? Like
Well,
I
he's
thought that was really
considered
interesting.
a parasite and became a symbiote.
Yeah, like I thought that but then by the time you get to the last act, I felt like it was just like, okay, I feel like I feel like I've seen this movie.
We've all seen this movie. That's the problem here. It's just
This is one of those ones that reminds you of other movies a lot.
It does.
I want to jump in real quick and say she's really good.
I like her too.
I've seen her in a number of other things, including The Bourne Supremacy, where she plays the daughter.
Yeah.
And like she's so good, and she has so much gravitas in all the scenes that she's in.
Yes.
And it really shows up Russian Diedrich Bader in all the scenes that they have together.
Yeah, I agree. I'll second that. I think she's wonderful, and she's got a real presence, and she's beautiful, and
And the movie looks good. I liked seeing the 80s Russia, as Jim pointed out, all the wood paneling and all the 80s technology and stuff was fun.
The set design was very good, especially in the beginning.
The part where he meets her at the beginning when they're in that like super brutalist building in Moscow, and he's in like the suit,
right?
And she's like waiting for her coat to come in because she's just been in that. Like that's such a beautiful like location that they're in, and it's like, oh, you found a Soviet like hospital, or
it was a community center. It was a Soviet. Yeah. It was a real place that looked like that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely. You can.
It was
tell.
a biology lab. They said,
or something like that. Yeah. It's like an old. They don't use it anymore, but it's there.
Yeah, it's just one of those places that you can find in Russia where it's like, this is the Soviet aesthetic top to bottom.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like the hallways are super wide. And like everything's like weirdly green for some reason. Like
the color palette in this movie ran the gamut from taupe to olive drab.
Oh yeah.
Well, there were no incandescent bulbs in use in any of
this whole thing was
right.
This whole thing was a bleach bypass, by the way.
It was all just bleach bypass. It was like heavy post, and they turned the color down on the luminance again. Some of these scenes were dead dark, and I didn't.
I sent this screenshot to my friend. I sent this screenshot to my friend, and she couldn't see the alien in it on her phone.
Like, I can't see it either, but I think you're in front of it, though, Tad.
But literally, she could not see it.
Oh,
yeah. But this is right afterwards. They turned the lights on in the room. That's how you could see it. It's like they had to turn on the lights. It was
the table was set, I think, for this movie to be better than it was.
I agree.
Great location, great setup. I love the opening.
Good actors.
Good actor. Well, I thought the general was a little bit like the general in Akira.
I felt like
very well.
I felt like the directing
very well.
I felt like the overall directing of the actors, or the style of the actors, with the exception of her, was a little sort of hokey movie-ish some of the time.
A little creaky.
Yeah, where she was, I believed her the whole time. Everyone else I felt knew they were in a movie.
The thing that this movie was not at any point during the course of it was scary.
There was a few jump scares in it. I jumped a couple times.
Oh, I never did. Like every jump scare I felt like was telegraphed from a mile back. And it was just, I'm sorry, a kilometer back.
It was pretty gory. It
was extremely gory.
It goes back to John asking why you picked this one, because you don't really like gory films like this.
I don't think you know.
Well, it's sci-fi.
Well, I hadn't seen it, and I didn't object to the bad guy getting his head bitten off and stuff. That was kind of cool.
But it wasn't. But the gore wasn't even fun because it was so obviously CG. Like it just reeked of
the first time they show the alien thing bite off the guy's head, and it's on the camera system actually.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was cool.
Well, she's such a good actress, as we talked about already. Her reaction sold it for me. Like when she threw up, like I was like, "Oh, that's
well." And even when they're in the cage, which is bad CG, like her fear in that scene when she's like backed up against the wall, is so good. And it's like, God, I wish this was in a better movie.
I agree.
Well, you know what? The Russians proved on this show that they make great films. They made Generation P. They made like all these great films.
Come and see.
Come and see. But they also proved they can make mediocre little, midline horror films and make them kind of boring.
This is not terrible.
I'm very
it's just
disappointed
okay.
that either of you said. I'm really disappointed no one said soccer.
It just ended up being dull. It just ended up being boring to me. It's like I've seen this so many times before.
Yeah. That's what when I said dollar store the thing, it's dollar store the thing.
Right.
Like,
well,
yeah, I was like,
a great.
There's a better movie. There's a better movie buried in here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this going on in this movie, and if you're gonna build a framework around two folks sitting at a table talking to each other, one's got an alien inside of them, like that. There should have been more.
Should have been more compelling.
They didn't sell. I can't believe I'm going to say this because I hate American films compared to most other countries, but they didn't sell the romance between these two. If there was going to be any of that, which there sort of was at the very end.
And they sold the romance between him and the other lab tech lady when they're sitting on the couch together.
Yeah.
And all that. Like you want them to be together. Like, it's like, oh, you guys are so cute. Like,
right.
Like because at the end when he touches her face before he spoiler alert.
And his face is covered with blood, and I'm like, don't kiss. Do not kiss.
But like I would have liked, I mean, if they were gonna go that route, there should have been stuff earlier on that was a little more, I don't know.
That, and also I think
the location.
I love the location. I think the reveal.
This looks so good for Kazakhstan. Like, it's I don't know if they shot it in Kazakhstan or not, but like it absolutely
shot around Moscow.
Even the desert. It looks like all of those videos I've seen of the Russian crafts landing.
Like the Soyuz coming down and
the cinematography down. The cinematography is really pretty good on this film, though.
Well, there was a thing where the dude who got the alien inside him started talking about, his wife or his kid and wanting to get back to them kind of thing. And I'm thinking, wow, even Russians seem to have that poisoned by screenwriting thing going. Or you got that.
I thought of that too, Scott.
You got this polonium.
Oh, the backstory.
And that's what you don't. And that's what you didn't have in Soviet films.
Yeah.
That you get in Russian films. Is in Soviet films they didn't have that because they weren't watching all of those American movies. They didn't have all that bullshit, so they could just be like, no, actually, fuck my wife. Like fuck my kid. I don't care. And in this movie, it's like, oh, we've watched so many movies where the guy has to want to get home.
Yeah.
We saw Apollo 13.
Right.
Like
Gravity.
Apollo,
this made me want to watch Gravity again for some reason.
The fucking kid that they have in this, who the fuck cares?
Right.
Like, it's the dumbest, like, B plot I've seen in a movie in a long time. Like,
to close on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
and like literally, you could have just
They had to have an ending, but it wasn't. It didn't feel earned.
No, that kid is him, right? The kid is the astronaut, right?
I don't think so. I think it's the kid she goes and rescues at the end of the movie because
at the end of the movie,
partially it's a flashback to her being
right.
Oh, it's a flashback to her. It's her.
It's two things. It's her because
her name is Tanya.
She was an orphan, and so she adopts the astronaut's orphan at the end.
Yeah,
right. Sorry, the kid is her. But
girl.
Boy, but it's actually a girl.
Symbolically.
Yeah.
No, it is her, literally.
No, it says, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl. My name's Tanya.
At the end.
That's the flashback.
Right. Oh, I completely missed that. The whole time, by that point, I was just like...
They do that on purpose because the whole time you're supposed to think that it's his kid, the astronaut's kid.
Right. Yeah.
But it's actually
the kid isn't a particularly good actor. The shit they give him to do isn't particularly good. Like,
no, that felt like a bad TV show. That flashback shit.
Yeah.
What's that Villeneuve film where the big potato chip from outer space comes? What's it called?
Arrival.
It sounds a little like the Arrival ending. Something not quite as timed.
It reminded me of the Arrival,
but not even close to being as good.
Okay. Right. Arrival is an excellent movie, and this is a mediocre movie.
Well, of course,
although they both have.
I agree with Tad 100% on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
like the damning part about this movie is I never wanted to be mad at it either. Like you could have made a movie that was.
No,
you could have made a movie that was.
It was okay.
It was. Jim's got his hand up.
I liked it. Yeah. And maybe it was just me feeling nostalgic for the Soviet Union. There's a connection between the guy who plays the colonel
Yeah.
Remember back when I wanted to watch a 6-hour movie?
I recall that. Yes.
The Napoleon.
War and Peace.
War and Peace.
Yeah, Bondarchuk.
The guy who directed War and Peace, Sergei Bondarchuk, is the father of the Colonel.
Oh wow!
The Colonel is a director in his own right.
He's been in a shitload of movies.
He's been in a shitload of stuff, including like international stuff.
Right.
Wow. He's got a cool face.
And she has too. Like
she has too. She's been in like a bunch.
She's done a ton of. I mean, obviously.
This is a bust-out film. It's playing on Hulu, right? So it's a bust-out international thing.
Well, and
we've got a bunch of this week. This week is a bunch of people who are in better movies.
Yeah,
there's I'm not claiming that John picked it because of that, but I mentioned it last week. I saw the trailer for this, and just because of the name, I sent it to John. But this was like, this was like 2 years ago or a year ago. I don't know.
I saw the trailer for this. I saw the trailer for this, and I rolled my eyes and walked away.
I thought the trailer was kind of tasty.
The trailer makes it look good.
The trailer actually is pretty good, and well, just the namesake. I was like, oh, I gotta send this to John because one, it's the same name, and two, it's a sci-fi thing. So.
All right, Scott, you have to edit in at least one clip from the story Sputnik.
Why is it called? Because Sputnik means companion, right, Jim?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He has satellite. Companion. He's inside of it.
No, it means
he's got a companion.
It means
companion. He's got a companion. Okay.
This was made in Russia a couple of years ago, right? 2000.
2020.
Yeah. So it was made in
2019, 2020 release. Yeah.
So do you think, because it's a great opportunity to talk about the Soviet state and kind of like get a little harsh with it? Do you think they held back because of Putin running everything?
No, I think
I was hoping
there's another Putin connection. The guy who plays the Colonel, a really famous actor, he signed an open letter to Putin supporting his invasion of Ukraine in 2014.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, boy. Well, yeah,
he said he was going to do it. He said he was going to do it if they joined NATO. He said it like years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing about giving this film some air. Is that such a good thing to do now? You know what I mean?
What the fuck ever.
All right.
I did look at this though.
I admit that's weak sauce.
But I thought about that because this film became like American films and other like this film became us versus the Russian, like they're fighting themselves, right? Like the government. I thought that was interesting.
Well, and there's specifically various points, especially early on in the movie. She's accused of being anti-Soviet. She accuses the Colonel of being anti-Soviet. He's like, I don't fucking care about that. I have a job to do. But
the bad guy in this movie is Russia. I mean, the government. It's like
they keep pushing out. You're going to be a hero of the Soviet Union to over and over to almost everybody in the film. It's kind of interesting.
This also overtly echoed Alien in that respect. In that it's like, we just want this thing for our weapons division.
And it's 1983, which is the last time we actually had a real like shit might have gone down. Like 83 was the
Tad's right. This is the last year of the hot part of the Cold War.
Did you guys ever wonder why 83 of all, like why this period piece?
They could have said it at any point, right?
It's after Brezhnev died, right?
Because 83 is the end. Like Perestroika really takes off after 83.
Right, but did that factor into the plot at all?
No, well, yes, because that's the end of
Because 83 is technically not the Cold War yet.
Yeah,
that's the end of the severely deep state, conflict with America. Once Perestroika really takes off, it's everything kind of starts to open up, and it's like, oh, we have a McDonald's in Moscow.
How did that factor into the plot of this movie?
I think because that's the last time that everything was super secret.
Also, I think that was before they built. I think it was before they built a space. It was before Mir, wasn't it?
It's prior to Mir. Yes.
Yeah. So I think
Mir went up in like 91 or something.
That's why
they just wanted two guys in a capsule, and that's another reason.
And not going to Mir. That's why I think it is. It's a little window.
By the way, is there a logic problem in cutting away from something else is on the outside of the capsule, knocking on the door to? How did it get inside the guy?
Never really. We just blew
let all the air out, and
without letting the air out.
Well, they didn't want to show you.
Because
I genuinely.
Although they show the alien far too soon in this.
They do.
But I don't know about you guys, but I was genuinely surprised when he opened his mouth and puked out. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, it's the hidden.
That was great.
Another bad CG is his mouth.
But nonetheless, it was a nice. Gimmick.
But I don't know about you guys. I was surprised. I was like, oh, this is okay. This is where we're going.
It's almost
something is on the capsule. Then they cut to capsule crashed.
Yeah.
Finds capsule.
One dude's head is fucking ripped open.
Yeah,
that was a great shot. That scene.
The
lighting. That is the best lighting almost in the whole movie.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
But
yeah, it's a lot like Prospect, a movie you don't like.
Mm-hmm. And did they just like bump into it in the middle of like?
There's some technical things about Prospect I very much like.
Also, the dude like passes out
like the story.
when this thing comes out. It's kind of like a. He's like the alien's like this murderous version of Quato from like Total Recall. Because like the host like goes unconscious. Exactly. Instead of being really cool, he goes out and murders things. What was the alien's motivation anyway?
Eat brains.
Pretty much.
Cortisol. It's
cortisol. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
It has to scare. It has to scare them so that the cortisol goes off.
It feeds on the
cortisol, and that's why both times she's like, "I'm not afraid of you."
It's just so funny because Gloom Girl and I have this running like she always says I'm trying to have a cortisol free existence.
Yeah.
So
it's a tingler basically.
Well, the monster in this
is the
cortisol and Sandy goes, totally safe.
Yeah,
and they did get to a place here where, and they didn't overdo it, but maybe they could have done it a little more. But by the end of this movie, it's she can pretty much talk to it or communicate with it and control it and be okay with it. And they, I don't know if they didn't do that enough or if they didn't go, or if they didn't do it, or if they, you know what I'm saying? Like either they did it too much or too little. I don't know which one it is.
I do like his realization, like Constantine's realization that he can't control it anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, well, fuck this. Plat. Like, that was cool.
Yeah.
Like I think that's dope. He's just immediately.
But where did he shoot himself? Like in the chest or something?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that raises the question of why couldn't it just crawl out
but I think he didn't
go into
because it's a
else.
symbiotic relationship.
They didn't show where he shot himself. Yeah, I think he's
like the kid in AI. He had bonded.
Or the hidden.
Yeah, I thought of the hidden, of course.
Well, I think we're done.
I think I wanted to say that I feel like that reveal that he knew all along that the alien was in there, that he knew all along he was having this symbiotic relationship.
Not just in there, he knew that it was killing the prisoners and eating their
because he can remember everything that it does.
Right.
Yeah.
That seemed like it should have been a bigger moment, and it was almost thrown away.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that might be a translation issue. Like I feel like in Russian, just from the way they were talking, it felt bigger.
Yeah.
Like
also these were the fastest subtitles I've almost ever seen in a movie.
You
had to like speed read these.
Well, they really were speaking fast and loose.
There's a lot of them using 2-word sentences and us getting 9-word sentences.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of context.
But they just went like,
yeah, I know.
I was like,
because this wasn't made for an international audience.
Yeah.
This was made for a Russian audience. And then they were like, oh, this is good-ish.
Hey, how did Duo in
It's
Russia?
goodish.
You know what the box office was in Russia?
I didn't look.
I didn't look either. So good enough.
I don't know if they report that as much as we do either.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Box office mojo working Russian.
Well, they probably have worse piracy issues than even we do.
Box office mojo.
Russia
so I think I went a little along with the stream here with you guys of kind of bashing it, but I'm a little more in Jim's camp than you guys. I thought it was okay.
Like a 6,
yeah. It's like a 6.
This is not a.
I give it like it's right.
Hey,
it's
all right,
we're doing this again.
This is at best a here.
Yeah, it's well with the pointy fingers down.
We couldn't see your finger.
Wait a minute. Oh, should it be this?
This is the thing, and this is just the place.
It's not a this.
Wait, do we always have to do the flip?
I
don't know.
You can actually.
I would tell people to watch.
I think that's reserved for when we're like passionate.